Last week, I was practicing the pause before the story. Something arrives and my body notices, and then my mind wants to label it, whether it's good or bad or indifferent or wonderful or absolutely not today. But this week, I'm noticing what happens when fear gets into the story and starts asking for the keys. I'm in week 2 of the attraction sphere, and this is the part where the field gets tangled. Not necessarily in some dramatic movie scene way. More often, it is ordinary fear doing ordinary fear things. The kind of fear that makes me explain too much or hold on too tightly, please people before I know what I want, and perform before I remember I belong to myself, or withdraw before I know what is actually happening. Even trying to manage the whole room so something in me can finally sit down. This is the fear I'm interested in this week. Not because I want to shame it or turn it into another self-improvement assignment with a clipboard and a tiny scolding voice, but because fear is often the place where attraction gets distorted. Something comes close, a person, a conversation, an appointment, a reaction in my body, a sudden possibility, or a small disruption to my very reasonable plan for the day. Before I know it, fear starts assigning roles. This is safe. This is dangerous. This is mine. This might leave. This person is the solution. This person is the threat. This situation is the test. This small moment has clearly called an emergency meeting inside me. This is where projection gets interesting. And by interesting, I mean occasionally mortifying. Projection is when I'm not only seeing what is here, I'm also seeing fear, hope, memory, expectation, old pain, old patterns, old longings, layered over what is here. So another person may not just be another person anymore. They may become the rescuer, definitely the judge, the authority, the disappointment, the danger, the answer, the one who will finally understand me, or the one who will definitely abandon me. At that point, I'm not really relating to what's here. I'm relating to what I'm afraid this means. And when fear is driving, it usually wants both hands on the steering wheel. This is where I'm trying to practice a different kind of attention. Not stop being afraid. Not shame the grip. Not pretend that if I were more enlightened, some tender part of me would never reach for the steering wheel. No. The practice is more like notice the grip. Notice the hand closing. Notice the part of me that thinks control will make me safe. Because the grip usually formed for a reason. Something in me wants protection. Something wants certainty. Something wants to know it will not be abandoned, overwhelmed, humiliated, dismissed, or left holding the whole bag while everyone else drifts off in a different direction. So I want to bring tenderness to the grip, but I also do not want to let the grip run the car. And this is where the love story between my sage words, mildness, and regency is helping me. Mildness, my purpose, sage word, helps me face the tangle without going to war with it. It reminds me that softness is not collapse. And regency helps me back to my own authority without taking over anyone else's. It reminds me that I belong to myself, and other people belong to themselves too. Together they help me ask a better question. Can I stay soft without self-erasure? Can I stay sovereign without domination? This does not mean I become passive. It does not mean I lose discernment. It does not mean I stay in situations that are not good for me just because I'm trying to be open-hearted. It means I stop confusing control with safety. It means I give myself one breath before fear takes the wheel. So this week, I'm watching for the places where attraction gets tangled by fear, where a person becomes a projection, where a desire becomes a demand, where a longing becomes a strategy, and where my body contracts while my mind starts looking for the controls. And I'm asking one question. Where does fear make me grab the steering wheel? Not so I can pry my own fingers off with another form of force, so I can notice what they're holding, so I can ask what part of me is trying to feel safe, so I can bring that part back into the car with me. Maybe not in the driver's seat, but definitely not tied to the bumper either. That feels like the work of week 2 for me. Not perfect trust, not total clarity, just the first small return, my hands from the wheel, my breath to the body, and my authority back to the place inside me that can stay soft without disappearing.